I just finished attending a pothole convention in Pittsburgh. Pothole makers from all over the world jammed the city's hotels and motels, and officials of the National Pothole Association said it was the most successful meeting they've ever had. Hiram H. Patches, president of the NPA, told me, "Thanks to a very bad winter, pothole production has tripled in the 1969-1970 season. We've had potholes where we've never had potholes before. At one time, you only saw potholes in the poorer neighborhoods and on unpaved streets, but now, because of new technological breakthroughs, you'll find potholes on paved suburban roads as well as on highways and bridges." Mr. Patches took me to the exhibition hall, where equipment as well as designs for potholes were on display. Most potholes, he said, used to be rectangular, but we're getting demands for potholes in every shape and form. This kidney-shaped one is very popular, and this oval one has been moving quite well, and this zigzag pothole's a real winner. Wait a minute, I said. You mean you can deliver a pothole made to order? Of course, he replied. When you have a pothole on a highway or a main street, you don't want one that looks ugly and doesn't fit in with a landscape. The silence was like a weight you tried to push to one side, only to find it had shifted with your effort, a gas-filled bag that swelled and compressed in eerie patterns. There was no moon. In the partial clearing beyond the perimeter was the rhythmic rustling of figures crawling through the jungle. They were out there in that black wall. They were coming. He heard the thick, deliberate sibilance of men moving, crawling forward in the filthy dark they loved so. The jungle was crawling with them. He felt his head and shoulders shiver once, uncontrollably. He could see nothing but gray splotches drifting and sinking in a black field. He rubbed his eyes. The air was close and foul. The odor of earth and damp rot sank into the base of his nose and lodged there. Mosquitoes kept buzzing against his cheeks and forehead. Then he heard the voice. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen ground swell under it and spills the upper boulders in the sun, and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them, and made repair where they have left not one stone upon a stone. But they would have the rabbit out of hiding to please the yelping dogs. The gaps I mean, no one has seen them made or heard them made, but at spring mending time we find them there. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet to walk the line and set the wall between us once again. We keep the wall between us as we go, to each the boulders that have fallen to each. And some are loaves, and some so nearly balls we have to use a spell to make them balance. Stay where you are, until our backs are turned. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game. One on a side, it comes to little more. There where it is, we do not need the wall. He is all pine, and I am apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pines, I tell him. He only says, "Good fences make good neighbors." Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. Why do they make good neighbors? Isn't it where there are cows? But here there are no cows. Before I built a wall, I'd ask to know what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom I was like to give offense. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down. I could say elves to him. But it's not elves exactly, and I'd rather he said it for himself. I see him there bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top in each hand, like an old stone savage, armed. He moves in darkness, as it seems to me, not of woods only in the shade of trees. He will not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well, he says again, "Good fences make good neighbors."
Rose while the moon still made the snowy ground look blue. Heated the house and hit the road before the day was new. Called a ride to the train to the city to a job that took all day. When he got home I'd had all afternoon to wait, but I always got my father time. I could always count on him to be a friend of mine, even when a million other things were on his mind. I always got my father time. He could play ping pong, baseball, frisbee, or croquet, help me with my homework, make me care about my grades, play guitar and trumpet, and he let me take the lead. I could do it only because he encouraged me, and I always got my father time. I could always count on him to be a friend of mine, even when a million other things were on his mind. I always got my father time. Now I've got a little girl and I'm so proud I do, and I'm gonna be with her whenever she wants me to, 'cause I always got my father time. I could always count on him to be a friend of mine. Parenthood's a bumpy road, but I'm not riding blind, 'cause I always got my father tied. I always got my father tied.